Christmas to everyone but you. You're on the naughty list, it's true. With your lies and your hate and your QAnon and crew, Merry Christmas to everyone but you.
You're crying about Starbucks cups again, while billionaires rob us blind with a grin. You shout fake news at facts you don't like, and scream lock 'em all up on TikTok all night.
Merry Christmas to everyone but you. You're stuck in a Fox News echo zoo. Your MAGA merch smells like hypocrisy stew. Merry Christmas to everyone but you.
Oh, you can't spell truth. You walk into the booth with a flag and a hat and no grasp of the facts. Santa tried to help, but he gave up too, 'cause he'd rather give coal to someone who's cool.
Sugar plums dance with the dead. Santa's sleigh just came from hell. Now Krampus has some tales to tell. Jingle bells, the truth prevails. Frost is melting, hear the wow. Merry Christmas and hail Satan. Satan. Burn the tree, we're celebrating. Reindeer riot in the snow. Let the fires grow. Elves are striking, toys are late. Mrs. Claus open, hell's main gate. Carolers scream through the winter night. Darkness wrapped in twinkling light. Candy cane lace razor blades, naughty listers on parade. Merry Christmas and hail Satan. Burn the tree, we're celebrating. Reindeer riot in the snow. Let the fires grow. No silent nights, no holy land. This year's gift is contraband. So raise your horns with anarchy. Let's all dance on the Christmas tree. Merry Christmas and hail Satan. Turn it up, we're celebrating. Raise your horns, the night is young. Let's make this fucking Christmas come undone. deserted it. The light has fallen, the world burns. Silently mentally says there is silence in heaven. Sanctus fugit, ora venit. The saint has fled, the hour has come. Alias portat lunos eios. Another will carry his burden. The bells still ring but hollow now. Let it return unanswered. The sleigh is empty, father is gone. His cheer finally fractured. The faithful wait, the children sleep, while wolves guard every gate. So hell was tasked to fight for peace and shoulder heaven's weight. Oh, veni, Satan Claus, ad noctem tantum vocatus. Oh, come, Satan Claus, called for this night alone. Redemundum veritae, non donis nomen dapsie. Give the world truth, not toys, no lies. No peace on earth, no silent night, the rich feasting away. While the poor bleed beneath street lights, we're taught to look away. The cross is bare upon their brows, for words with heavy cost. If God won't come when summoned now, then call the one he lost. Oh, veni, Satan Claus, perfumum nivem cinerem. Oh, come, Satan Claus, through smoke, through snow, through ash. Ferrerim pro crudele or hypocritarum cinererim ple. Bring a fire for cruelty, fill the mouths of hypocrites with ash. Sancti lassati sunt, the saints are tired. Angeli fugeron, the angels fled. Porcus ipsum devoravit. Porcus ipsum devoravit. I see the children start to wake. They know the saint is dead. I bring them wrath, I give them truth, and torches for what's next. I give the gift of honesty, no sin like stealing breath. What you deserve on Christmas Eve are ballrooms filled with death. Oh, veni, Satan Claus, sovenos quos Deus neglectus. Oh, come, Satan Claus, undo the nuts got ignored. Si salus non venit Cello, tunc infernus laberabi. If salvation won't come from heaven, the devil will do the work. Whoa, veni, Satan Claus, heros dignus cemeremus. Oh, come, Satan Claus, the hero we know we deserve. Battalo umbra de relicti, puneos qui se ministros sticken. Abandoned by the ghost in heaven, punish those who claim he serves. Whoa, veni, Satan Claus, cemeremur non ceng optamus. Acalo spiritus de relicti, puneos qui se ministros sticentu. Oh, veni, Satan Claus, cemeremur non ceng optamus. Acalo spiritus de relicti, puneos qui se ministros sticum. Nocte una tantum, Satan elegum resenset, cum bravus inventus eris, aurum tuum requiem non emit. And for one night only, Satan is checking the list. And when you're found to be naughty, your gold cannot buy you rest. Nocte una tantum, Satan elegum resenset, cum bravus inventus eris, aurum tuum requiem non emit. And for one night only, Satan is checking the list. And when you're found to be naughty, your gold cannot buy you rest. Oh, very, Satan goes.
Number one.
Instantly, it gives kind of scallop shell vibes.
Would that lift up?
So today we have a number of antique gadgets that you have suggested we review. So we've got a Chef Ebbers and a normal Jamie in the hot seat to pass their thoughts and see if these gadgets are built to last or best left in the past.
Great.
Capped.
Holes in the top, which are, I would say, croissant shaped.
Yeah,
Like
or a
crescent
star, or
and a star,
or
a little triangle.
shellfishy kind of vibes. It's still giving me scallop shell.
That's definitely.
It's definitely French.
But it was given to us this way up. But you did something where you turned it that way, and then we're looking to see if you're squeezing,
Pushing a dough or something through there, because it feels like it might be an extruder of sorts.
You're absolutely correct. It's French. This is a coquille, a classic French tool and serving dish used to craft elegant, decorative curls of butter. So this was designed to place on the tabletop. You separate it, turn the decorative shell upside down.
You were right.
Fill that with butter, and then you press it onto the base, slowly squeezing it down, and you get these little curly shapes of butter, which you then present to your guests. These were popular and have been around since the 1800s, but we think this one in particular is early 1900s. Would you like to give it a go?
Yes.
Je ne sais quoi.
Boys, you have some garlic and rosemary compound butter there.
So I'm guessing this is the French part of elegance and going over the top to serve your guests with something that looks.
So yeah, these are absolutely prominent in houses of aristocracy and the bourgeois.
What I would say, there is nothing worse in this world
Here we
Than-
go, everyone.
a block of butter on the table with your bread at the start of a meal, table bread, and it's so hard that you can't scrape it. That's why a butter knife, whilst not sharp, has teeth, so you can curl and scratch away at it. I like the idea of this because it's going to do that scratching for you, so you then just go in and just very, very dainty on your bread, job done. Here goes. Now,
That's genuinely what it should look like.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And I have some delicious cheese crumpets to go with your compound rosemary and garlic butter.
no, this is already soft room temperature butter, but it's still not as nice an experience as going into something that's been curled for you. Because now you've got, yeah, I mean, it just makes sense.
This is such a posh person thing. This is.
Jamie can't compute this. When you have people around to your house, Jay,
Yeah.
do you want them to leave having been impressed? This is just a slightly different avenue to a very wealthy group of people in order to provide that experience for their guests. Back in the early 1900s, these would be made of silver. Again, another status symbol metal. Due to their popularity, these
It's
100% see why it's a status symbol type of thing.
But that's also why I like the fact that it's shaped like a silver scallop shell.
Well-
because that's also a sign of sort of shellfish and elegance and sophistication.
and the French word coquille translates to
Shell.
So knowing that these are in huge demand, and soon to be even more demand in the Spafford household, how much do you think that we paid for at auction?
I reckon that's probably £36.
25.
£90. We're also investing into the building. It's an investment.
Gonna add it to the museum library.
And add it to the library. So boys, the coquille butter curler from 1920s France, built to last or best left in the past.
Best left in the past. There is no place for that now. I know it works, but there's no reason for it.
Sadly, I think I agree. Because I would love it if things like this still had a place, but they just don't.
Would you like a second?
Yes.
Boys, antique gadget number 2 is under the cloche.
Your turn.
What is it?
Feels like it goes in the neck of a bottle
Yeah,
or a flask.
I mean, it also looks like it could be like a apple corer type thing.
And then you pour out the juice of
An orange?
This is the Wonder Metal Juice Extractor.
Well done, you.
Look at that. So this is a historical device designed for manual juice extraction by screwing into the fruit.
So on the butter thing, you do it ceramic, and you make the base part. Well, you do it ceramic. You make the two pieces threaded, so you can just spin it, and it brings it down. And then you make the base part hollow, so that you can put a refreezable, reusable ice pack in there. There you go.
Most commonly oranges and lemons, and then massaging it to release the juice before pouring it out.
I have seen really cheap plastic versions of these,
Yeah.
and they always sell them at kind of food shows, and it's just like the infinite amount of juice that comes out of these things is insane. It obviously stems from somewhere. It's not new.
So it stems from the 1930s, and it's a British-made product. There was a similar American one around the same time called the Juice-Tractor. And this method was particularly prominent in the mid-20th century as a convenient hand-powered alternative to electric juicers. Many people say that this method and the hand juicing extraction is better because less bitter flavours are released from the pith. Would you like to give it a go?
Yes,
I'd
please.
like a navel.
I don't know what that means.
A navel orange.
Lovely.
And you do simply just
Yep. Massage,
Squeeze.
massage, pour.
rub, 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 pour, pour, pour.
But this way, you go in here and you cut through the core and all the, or here, you'll only really cut through two segments. So I think, or maybe at an angle.
We've got a number of oranges.
That's what you're here to do.
I'm going to commit.
Some juice.
Now,
I don't know whether to be impressed or not.
now it's all down to the amount of massaging. And I feel like you maybe just do it like that.
Yeah.
That's it.
You have a very controlled squeeze.
And a very controlled pour from the squeeze.
Yeah.
So this device, particularly much more common and popular to be
Easy pour, but he missed his glass.
frozen easy.
So well, Eb.
Is it better to go
which
in
way
through the
to
top
go
or
in?
in through the side?
I think
Yeah.
we proved that when you compare to
Orange into that glass. You know, one fresh got a lot more.
Simple to
how much
Or at a charity shop.
£10.
built to last,
Lift key. Jay,
Dick piercing.
whee. Pressy and springy sprikey.
It's a dick piercing.
What are you needing to pierce?
The one thing that's coming to mind is cherry pitting.
Oofed.
Because I know Assorted Kids did one recently, which was kind of more of the pincery type movement. But that feels like the right kind of size,
You've got
right
me
kind
there,
of
because
action.
I thought that was going over something like a block. I was like, what is square that's going in here that pierces the underside?
Oh, no, see,
But
I-
you're so, and there,
Yeah.
right? That's what I thought, but you're so right. That is probably an olive or a cherry.
You're putting it there.
Yeah, well done, Jay.
this is the cherry pitter.
You're good at this.
Hand-operated kitchen tool designed to remove the hard pits from small fruits while keeping the flesh largely intact. Cleanly.
See
How much we can
how
get up.
cherries have changed in the last however many decades.
Blimey.
Because agriculture, gene selection, it's possible they're now a different shape or size, or the pips, stones inside have changed.
It's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Like pigs are longer than ever before.
Yeah.
Because we like bacon.
Yeah.
So they've been bred to have longer backs.
Chickens have bigger
Pigs are
breasts.
longer.
Chickens have got bigger breasts. These are, but they are.
And I know. I just didn't think we'd be discussing longer pigs. That's the takeout.
Did that work?
I've got no idea. No. Maybe this way? It's not doing a great job.
No.
I'd go as far as saying
missing.
it's not doing any job.
Any job.
What am I getting wrong, Jay?
No. The problem with having such a small needle is that if you miss the stone, it's not going to do the job that you want it to do. I mean, that
It's
felt
just pushing
good.
the stone to one side. So back to my first question. I wonder how cherries have changed. because the kit
Probably a
hasn't.
lot.
The needle's the same size it always was. The hole is the same size it always was. So it can
probably had
only
a bigger
be
pit.
this that's changed. Have they been bred to have smaller stones and more flesh over
Yes.
decades?
Yes,
Very possibly.
guarantee
In the same
it.
way that avocados, bananas,
because I remember seeing. God, what was it? It was in a home ec class. Pretty sure it was in home ec class. Picture of a really, 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 really old cherry with a great big pit.
back in the day were full of seeds.
Yeah.
Avocados used to have much bigger stones, but now it's the flesh you want. They've been bred differently. I wonder if
Fascinating, because is the dated or the function just isn't necessary anymore, or it's been itself. Gadget like
means you no longer need to turn cream back into butter. Those kind of gadgets, which were great,
Yep.
don't have a place because our environment have changed. Those not
a
I
gadget
can
like
remember.
this.
Our environments have changed. The addition of refrigeration means you no longer need to turn cream back into butter. Those kind of gadgets, which were great,
Yep.
don't have a place because our
Yeah,
environment.
theories, comment them down below.
This.
Like it's
Your fourth and final antique gadget is under the cloth.
C1. It's pressing down.
But only to a certain place. So whatever it is, it does it for different heights. And then what?
Trump just committed an act of war and a crime of aggression. Right, that's what you have many saying after he ordered a blockade on sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. With him writing on Truth Social last night, Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. And adding, it will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before until such time as they return to the United States of America all of the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us. And saying the illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping, the Venezuelan regime has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. And then, after announcing that in no uncertain words he was ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela, Trump claimed the illegal aliens and criminals that the Maduro regime has sent into the United States during the weak and inept Biden administration are being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. Saying America will not allow criminals, terrorists, or other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation, and likewise will not allow a hostile regime.
I wish he would just explode. And it would be funny if he did. Because if you were in the room, it would be like someone popped a balloon filled with diarrhea. It would just be like pop, and it'd be a mist of shit.
To take our oil, land, and any other assets, all of which must be returned to the United States immediately. So, a lot to unpack there. And so before we even get into what is actually true in what he said, let's start with the blockade and the responses to it. Because Trump's order, it could seriously hurt Venezuela's economy, which heavily relies on oil exports primarily to China. So among the Venezuelan officials slamming this, you had the country's vice president saying, Venezuela in national unity condemns Donald Trump's military threat and will defend its rights of free trade, navigability, free development, sovereignty, and national independence. Right, and that is stateside, you had people like Representative Joaquin Castro writing, naval blockade is unquestionably an act of war, a war that the Congress never authorized and the American people do not want. And adding, on Thursday, the House will vote on a resolution directing the president to end hostilities with Venezuela. Every member of the House of Representatives will have the opportunity to decide if they support sending Americans into yet another regime change war. Also with this, I'll say Trump's choice to label Maduro's government as a foreign terrorist organization, that has sparked a lot of reactions, including confusion. And that's for a number of reasons, including he already gave that designation to Cartel de los Soles, with Trump arguing that it's headed by Maduro and people in his government. So to many, it was unclear if he was just referencing that or if he was declaring a new terrorist group. But as some reports have explained, giving that label to the government specifically, it would create more of a pretext for direct military action in the country and pave a way for U.S. personnel to sanction, stop, or seize any vessel carrying Venezuelan oil. Which then, on the note of oil, you have tons of people questioning Trump's claims that Venezuela stole U.S. oil, land, and assets. And there, you have many saying that's just an outright lie, though others have said it is an incorrect assertion. But where the reports largely agree is that Trump seems to be referencing Venezuela's choice to nationalize its oil industry a few decades ago. And a number of experts have argued that Venezuela's natural resources do not belong to the U.S. But still, you have people in Trump's administration like Stephen Miller using this justification, writing, American sweat, ingenuity, and toil created the oil industry in Venezuela. Its tyrannical expropriation was the largest recorded theft of American wealth and property. These pillaged assets were then used to fund terrorism and flood our streets with with killers, mercenaries, and drugs. Also, with everything going on, there's a question of how does this impact the American oil companies still in Venezuela? And well, if you look into it, the only one left is Chevron, and it's the only one continuing to operate after decades of changes, and they have a special license from the government to operate there. And Chevron, at least so far, is suggesting that they're not impacted by Trump's order, with a spokesperson saying Chevron's operations in Venezuela continue without disruption and in full compliance with the laws and regulations applicable to its business, as well as the sanctions frameworks provided by the US government. And really, they seem to be trying to stay out of this, saying any questions about the security situation in Venezuela should be directed to the appropriate authorities in the US government. So definitely what happens between Venezuela and Chevron is something we're gonna have to keep eyes on. But all of this, it comes as Trump's been spending months and months building pressure against Maduro. You have Trump threatening strikes in Venezuela. The military has conducted multiple airstrikes on boats in the Caribbean, often near Venezuela, and those have killed nearly 100 people, and many argue that those attacks have been illegal. There's also been an increase in US aircrafts in the region. And while the official on-paper motive from the administration is that this is a drug crackdown, many believe that, this is really just about regime change in Venezuela. Now, or maybe it's always been, apparently oil. It brings us back to just yesterday in that wild Vanity Fair piece with Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, where she told them Trump wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle. And so with that, you had senators like Chris Murphy seeing that quote and arguing, so not a war on the cartels, it's regime change. Either way, totally illegal and nonsensical. For now, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens and what Trump does from here. Our what do you call himself? The peace president? How disrespectful to FIFA. They made up a whole fucking peace prize for him, and this is what he does? It kept him busy for what, like an afternoon? Right, but then next up from that today, right, because we have a lot to talk about, Trump, he just expanded the travel ban to nearly 40 countries, so about 1/5 of the entire planet, and this time, it's not just hitting tourists, it's hitting families, it's hitting students, it's hitting Afghans who helped the United States during the war, right? And these new restrictions are going into effect on January 1st, and they fully ban travel from 5 additional countries, including Syria and South Sudan, along with really anyone holding documents issued by the Palestinian Authority. And then on top of that, there are 15 more countries, mostly in Africa, that are facing partial restrictions. But here's the part that matters the most. This policy applies to spouses, children, siblings, and parents of US citizens. It applies to international students, and it applies to Afghan special immigrant visa holders, so people who were explicitly promised protection for working with the US military and government. But the Trump administration, they say, hey, this is about security, saying it is the policy of the United States to protect its citizens from foreign nationals who intend to commit terrorist attacks, threaten national security, or exploit immigration laws. And yes, this was something that was expected. Right after 2 National Guard troops were shot and 1 was killed, the Trump administration immediately tightened immigration rules, and they pointed to the shooter's Afghan nationality as well as his expedited entry tied to work with CIA-backed units. But what followed also went far beyond that incident. In just days, Trump paused all asylum decisions, reviewed green cards from people from 19 Middle Eastern and African countries, indefinitely halted Afghan immigration applications, and barred Afghans from entering the US altogether. And all of this after Trump promised to, quote, permanently pause migration from all third world countries. And then you had Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem reportedly urging Trump to go even further, calling for, quote, a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nations with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. And so now with this move, you have supporters cheering, right? Gene Hamilton, the president of America First Legal, summing it up, saying if you don't know who someone is or if there are risks associated with their presence, you shouldn't let them in. But that is, you have many critics warning that the consequences, they're already showing. Right earlier this month, citizenship ceremonies were abruptly canceled, sparking panic among immigrants who had already cleared the system. And there's a part of this that no one really seems to be talking about. The US, we're set up to co-host the 2026 World Cup, and countries like Senegal, Haiti, and Iran are now on the restriction list. And while athletes, they may get exceptions, the fans, they likely won't. So essentially, you have the United States inviting the world and then telling large parts of it, hey, you're just not welcome. Right, and all of this is you have former immigration officials saying this isn't really about safety at all. And you had one saying Trump's pushing immigration back toward an era of racial quotas. He consistently singles out certain nationalities as scapegoats, and the law gives him too much discretion to discriminate. And well, of course, with this, as well as really anything that I cover in these daily Philip DeFranco shows, I'd love to know your thoughts. I will say, one of the things that's been very interesting to watch is the reaction to this, which is very expanded as far as a travel ban, versus what was happening back in 2017. Because I think it shows how desensitized a lot of people are nowadays. The reaction now is pretty small considering how expansive this is. Whereas, back in 2017, everyone kind of lost their shit. So one of the things we end up seeing from that are different voices popping up. But even before this most recent expansion, you have people coming out like Republican Miami Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar saying that Trump's crackdown is un-American, saying Trump's new policy had amounted to collective punishment of the innocent for the sins of the guilty, saying this is unfair, un-American, and it goes against everything this country stands for. And then there's more we're gonna dive into in a minute, but first let me say, it is still technically fall here, and it is stacked with football, basketball, hockey, concerts, like The Jonas Brothers, Lord, John Party, and more. I mean, it's all happening. And we've been giving out $500 every week for over a year thanks to our sponsor at SeatGeek. And somehow, some of y'all still haven't entered for free, which is crazy because it's been awesome seeing so many of you guys win the $500 SeatGeek weekly giveaway and use it to hit up concerts, games, Broadway shows. Just y'all living your best lives. And if you haven't entered yet, it takes 2 seconds, and next week's $500 winner, it could be you. And for the uninitiated, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads and tickets to over 70,000 events, sports, music, comedy, theater, you name it. So if you're a first timer, download the app, scan the QR code, or hit the link in the description and use code Phil for $20 off your first ticket purchase. And then, this is key, add code DeFranco to your SeatGeek account. That'll get you $10 off of any ticket and enters you for your chance to win the weekly $500 giveaway, no purchase required. And if you're a SeatGeek vet, right, you've used it before, that applies to you too. Just add code DeFranco to your account and you're entered. So hey, scan that QR code or click the link below and use code Phil and DeFranco and go make some memories. But then, next up in the news, Candace and Erica think we're dumb. That is just one of the top comments I can read on this show following Candace Owens and Erica Kirk meeting, and then Candace Owens making a video to explain what was discussed. Right along with other takes, like I've been watching your show for 3.5 years, and this is the first time I truly feel disappointed in you. As well as, I hate to say it, Candace, but you sound like a kid who just came out of the principal's office and is now casually shrugging and telling her friends outside it was no big deal. And so we'll need to dive into why, but where we should start is apparently the former Fox host Megyn Kelly, she was working behind the scenes to coordinate this meeting.
I really fully believe God's role for me here is to possibly play a role in getting this whole thing to a better place.
I do think that she has kept it very even. She has not been hysterical and it's demonic, it's evil, how dare Candace? And I appreciated that.
With Kelly also blasting critics who were upset with her for not condemning people like Owens and Tucker Carlson since the whole MAGA civil war broke out. Though with this, one, she made it clear that she doesn't believe the conspiracy theories about Kirk's assassination, and two, she just hates what she called petty internet people who want her and Owens to have a public catfight.
She and I actually have only gotten closer over the past couple of months as people try to make me attack her. So f*** off, okay? I have no obligation to you to hate the people you hate or try to bring down the people you want brought down.
But then, getting into the conversation itself, which supposedly lasted more than 4 hours, it appeared to go pretty well. You had both Owens and Kirk calling it very productive, Owens adding that they agreed much more than she expected and tensions were thawed. But then when Owens did her first podcast since the meeting yesterday, at times just a very different picture emerged.
I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer. What I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. He said that they have nothing but the affidavit. They will not know what investigators have discovered, this is what the lawyer told me, until May. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger.
So seemingly Candace undeterred with what she's believing, but also Tyler Robinson, he wasn't the only point that Owens refused to budge on, because she apparently still believes that people inside a Turning Point USA, though not necessarily Erica herself, had something to do with Kirk's assassination.
I still didn't feel good about the conversation that I had with Terrell, and I can't ignore my gut, and I don't trust Tyler Boyer, and that is never going to change. Similarly with Rob McCoy. He makes my skin crawl. I can't explain it. I look at him and he's a bad person and nobody can make me feel one way or the other about that. I believe that Charlie was betrayed by people that are close to him.
Also, Owens doubled down on her now infamous Egyptian planes theory, which is still a little vague on the details, but...
Because I'm certain that these Egyptian planes are incredibly shady and that they were in fact tracking Turning Point USA faith, broader events. Of course, Erica was at some of them. There is overwhelming evidence that these planes regularly fly in and out of Israel. And I'm going to present that evidence tomorrow. I say that strongly. We are dangerously close to something.
So that, it's where things stand now, though I'm very interested to see what happens next. Because if you just do a quick scroll through the comments on that video, Owens fans feel betrayed. Many furious this happened in private, it wasn't recorded or live streamed, saying things like huge letdown with this closed door meeting. Telling your audience to trust you doesn't sit well with me since all you've been doing this whole time was demand transparency. And vibe is so off, just talking, no investigating, just bullshit and trying to gaslight us. Wow, I'm shocked. As well as Erica got what she wanted and all the hard work and credibility to get truth and justice for Charlie got shot, pun intended. Sad day, very sad day, disappointed. Wish Candace didn't take Erica's bait by doing this interview privately. Erica just wanted to see what cards Candace was holding over her and TPUSA's heads. And now this whole narrative becomes all hearsay. And well, at one point during her live stream, she was saying like the negative reactions she was receiving before the full comments came in, they were likely bots. Again, like the top comments were almost all like that. Just a ton of disappointment, anger, confusion, and suspicion.
But all around, definitely a productive conversation.
But then, as far as Erica, she's now turning her attention to America First, which is a TPUSA event that's featuring Trump officials and right-wing influencers. Which, if anything's real, or at least the people saying things believe those things, is going to be interesting because, I mean, one of the scheduled speakers is Tucker Carlson, who just said to Theo Vaughn,
I don't understand the official story at all.
Of his assassination,
I don't understand it. Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I just want to say that that is factually true. And it also, her claim that, you know, there were kind of a disproportionately large number of foreign registered cell phones at the event, that's also true. So what does that add up to? I don't know.
So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how that event plays out. Also, it's going to be interesting to see how Candace reacts to her audience losing their shit on her. And then 3, I'll say, with as much infighting as we've seen on the right, it'll be interesting to see if anyone who's, you know, really big into conspiracy theories tries to take some of Candace Owens' audience. Because there is this ever-growing narrative in some circles that Candace, quote-unquote, sold out to somebody. You know, while it's not a true one-to-one and it's different, it's kind of like, it's similar to what you saw with Dan Bongino and others who really talked about the Epstein files and the conspiracy around that, all of a sudden changing what they were saying, right? In their audiences or supporters' reaction following that switch up. But hey, for now, let me know your thoughts, opinions, reactions, and maybe even predictions as we wait to see how this plays out. But then, next up in the news, something quick but very, very big. 4 House Republicans have now broken ranks and joined Democrats to force a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies established during the pandemic. Right? Because Republicans refused to do anything about them during the shutdown, they're set to expire at the end of the year, and it's going to leave, at the very least, millions of Americans paying more for health insurance. Right? And House Speaker Mike Johnson, he's refused to even have a vote on extending them, with him also shooting down Republican proposed alternatives. And so while House GOP leaders were planning to vote on Johnson's healthcare bill, Democrats, they circulated a discharge petition. And as many people have now learned, thanks to the Epstein file situation, that can force a vote over the House leadership's objections if the majority of representatives sign on. And today, with Pennsylvania Representatives Brian Fitzpatrick, Robert Bresnahan, and Ryan McKenzie, as well as Mike Lawler of New York, signing on, the petition tipped over the edge. With Lawler saying to me the clean 3-year extension is not ideal, but doing nothing is not an answer. And Fitzpatrick adding, things are very expensive right now. Healthcare is very expensive. Anything we can do to lower the cost, we ought to do. And so with all that, we could be seeing a vote on this as early as next month. But before you celebrate too much, the Senate, which agreed to vote on an extension as part of the deal to end the shutdown, they've already rejected it. Right? And they've also actually shot down a Republican plan to direct subsidies to individual accounts that could be used to pay for out-of-pocket healthcare costs. And so obviously we're going to watch to see what happens from here, because it's literally going to change the lives of millions and millions of Americans. If we're talking about strategy, if we're talking about politics, politically, the damage may have already been done. Right? This move, it cracks open the next phase of the healthcare battle, one that Republican leaders have been desperately trying to avoid. All while another government funding deadline hits at the end of January. You got the midterm elections looming. You know what happens with healthcare? There's going to be a big spotlight on it, along with affordability. It is a central political fight, and at this time, it looks like House leadership no longer fully controls the floor. And then we're going to keep breaking down the news today, but first, let me take a minute to say, you ever get blindsided by a data breach from a company that you never heard of? Right? Because, well, at least 35,000 people have after Verissure's third-party billing partner leaked names, emails, addresses, and even social security numbers. I mean, your info, it can sit on some random vendor's server that you'd never touched, and you're the one dealing with the fallout. And that's exactly why today's sponsor, Incogni, exists. Incogni, next up today, this is crazy. Trump is in big trouble. Like some would say bigger than the Epstein files trouble, because Americans are losing confidence in Donald Trump's handling of the economy fast. And it's ugly. According to the latest polling, just 36% of Americans approve of how Trump's managing the economy. And then here's the part that Trump really should be worried about. Americans haven't been this negative on the economy since 2022, when of course Joe Biden was president. And back then, Republicans had a 16-point advantage on which party voters trusted more with the economy. But now, that advantage has evaporated. Democrats lead by 4 points. And this shift, it's not some abstract thing. It's very personal. Right? 70% of Americans now say the cost of living in the area where they live is not affordable, up from 45% just 6 months ago. 35% say that their personal finances have gotten worse over the past year, and the number of people who think things are going to improve next year, it's collapsed, falling from 48% to 33%. And while Trump's out there saying that affordability is actually a Democrat hoax, you have people not feeling just squeezed, but feeling stuck. You know, while optimism, it does still exist out there, it is increasingly segmented. Right? Republicans, white evangelical Christians, rural voters, and whites without college degrees, especially white men, they're more likely to believe things are going to improve by 2026. But Democrats, independents, Latinos, and college-educated white women, they're just not buying it. And again, like this pessimism, it's not coming out of nowhere. Just this week, the federal government released 2 major economic reports, which were delayed by the shutdown. And while they don't prove a recession, they raise some serious red flags. Retail sales, which account for roughly 2/3 of the US economy, were basically flat from September to October. And of course, that's a time where spending usually ramps up ahead of the holidays. And then, there's the jobs. Last week, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates, citing concerns about the labor market. Hell, Fed Chair Jerome Powell even warned that federal data may be overestimating job creation by as much as 60,000 jobs per month. So keep that in mind when I tell you that the US reportedly lost 105,000 jobs in October and only added 64,000 jobs in November. Meanwhile, unemployment, it's reached the highest level in 4 years, and while it is still historically low, it's been enough that economists are starting to worry. Right? I mean, you had the head of economic research at Indeed telling ABC News that while the data needs to be taken with caution, it paints a sobering picture of a job market that may be turning frigid after a prolonged cooling period. Right? And so then, as far as how the White House has been responding, they've been responding with optimism, loud optimism, right? Posting the best is yet to come, sharing claims like deportations deliver jobs, facts, pointing to data showing 2 million jobs this year went to US-born workers. But economists, you have them saying that the numbers don't prove that Americans are filling jobs left by immigrants, and it doesn't explain why people still feel underwater. And honestly, I mean, the White House's biggest problem here, it might be Trump himself. Right? Trump, he's repeatedly called the affordability crisis a hoax, a con job, and a Democratic scam. Yet last night in Pennsylvania, you had Vice President J.D. Vance standing in front of a sign reading lower prices, bigger paychecks, and saying,
I promise you, there is no person more impatient to solve the affordability crisis than Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States.
Right, and so anyone with a functioning brain's asking, okay, well, which is it? Is it a hoax or is it a real thing that's happening and Donald Trump cares and is fixing it? And well, Vance, you had him trying to kind of split the difference, saying that progress, it takes time, that Rome wasn't built in a day, while then also agreeing with Trump's assessment that the economy deserves an A++++. And it appears that to make this contradiction work, the administration is trying to lean into 2 strategies. First, blame Biden, that sleepy Joe son of a bitch, Trump mentioning Biden 30 times in a single affordability speech last week. And you had Vance echoing that line again yesterday.
Joe Biden gave us the worst economy in the world that we forget it. No, we know. We know exactly what we were left with. We know exactly the consequences that it's caused for so many of our great families all across Pennsylvania.
And then second, they're asking voters to wait, right? Vance promised that middle-class Americans will be rewarded in 2026 once Trump's tax cuts and deregulation, it fully kicks in.
You are going to have, and if this doesn't turn out to be true, I'll come back here and you can all tell me I'm wrong, but I'm telling you it's going to be true. You are going to have middle-class Americans, middle-class Pennsylvanians, some of the best tax season in 2026 that you've ever had.
He even invited voters to hold him accountable if it doesn't happen. But critics, they warn that those benefits, they're likely to flow upward, not outward. And that concern, it's not coming out of nowhere. It's backed by new data showing that while everyday Americans are very anxious, executives and investors, they're more confident in the economy than they've been in 4 years. Right? And that's a big thing that I've tried to explain to any of my rich friends, that there are people living in different realities in the United States right now. Right? The wealthiest, they're doing great, they're spending great. Those regular folks, they're tightening their belt, right? You've got Americans, and more importantly for next year, you have voters uneasy, though the markets are calm. And you have the White House saying that everything's great, but also it's not their fault if things are not great. And so with these off-cycle elections already swinging to the left and the midterms less than a year away, the big question is whether voters decide, hey, we're gonna keep waiting or we're gonna send a message. But that right there, it brings us all to the end of today's show. Granted, you've got more just a click away, or you've got today's brand new Crashing Out episode with myself and Alex Perlman. Well, it's called Crashing Out. It is very actually cathartic, and or you could watch last night's Philip Franco show. Definitely watch that if you haven't seen it already. But whatever you do, let me just say thank you for watching. I love yo faces, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Well, welcome to the live stream. Today's live stream, oh man, I got something really cool to show you. But first, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to go over a health update. I actually have figured out what's causing the kidney
silence in heaven. Sanctus fugit, ora venit. The saint has fled, the hour has come. Alias portet munus eius. Another will carry his burden. The bells still ring. The light is fallen, the world burned. Silentium intellis, as there is silence in heaven. Sanctus fugit, ora venit, the saint has fled, the hour has come. Alius portat munus eius. Another will carry his burden. Turn unanswered. The sleigh is empty, father is gone. Is cheer finally for action? The faithful wait, the children sleep while wolves guard every gate. So hell was tasked to fight for peace and shoulder heaven's weight. Oh, veni, veni, Satan Claus, ad noctem hanctantum vocatus. Oh, come, come, Satan Claus, called for this night alone. Redem mundum veritate, non donis, non mendatis. Give the world truth, not toys, no lies. No peace on earth, no silent night. The rich feasting away, while the poor bleed beneath street lights. We're taught to look away. The cross is bare upon their brows, for words with heavy cost. If God won't come when summoned now, then call the one he lost. Oh, veni, veni, Satan Claus, perfumum nivem generem. Oh, come, Satan Claus, through smoke, through snow, through ash. Verignem pro crudelitate, ora hypocritarum cinerim pled. Bring your fire for cruelty, fill the mouths of hypocrites with ash. Sancti lassati sunt, the saints are tired. Angeli fugerunt, the angels fled. Porcus ipsum devorave, porcus ipsum devorave, porcus ipsum devorave, porcus ipsum devorave. I see the children start to wake. They know the saint is dead. I bring them wrath, I give them truth and torches for what's next. I give the gift of honesty, no sin like stealing breath. What do you deserve on Christmas Eve? Our ballrooms filled with death.
Stones, but in the process, they found a bigger problem. I'll get into that. I also wanted to share my top 3 favorite gifts I've ever been given in my life, including recently I was given a Muppet of myself. I'm one of the Muppets. I'll show you that. And then I wanted to share a musical memory that I had with my dad. And my dad's now been gone for over 6 years, and around Christmas it gets much tougher. I really miss him. And then I've got 2 big announcements. So fun live stream before we break for the holidays. I'm going to be heading up to Idaho, so I'm excited about that. All right, so first of all, the kidney stone, they found out was causing my kidney stones, and I need to drink a lot more water. They told me it wasn't necessarily caused by soda pop. So that's good news. So I can drink more Dr. Pepper, coconut cream Dr. Pepper, which is my nectar of the gods. And I just need to add this into my diet, potassium citrate. Got to take this every single day, and they're telling me that I will not produce any more kidney stones. So that's great. That's great news. Only problem is when I went in to get this checkup and do this, they found a bigger problem, and that problem is that I have extremely high blood pressure. Now, my dad had high blood pressure. In fact, that's one of the things that led to his to him having a stroke and passing away. Oh, thank you so much, James. Appreciate it. And so it's very concerning. I've never had high blood pressure. I don't know what the deal is, but it was 170 over 115 or something. It was really bad. So I've had to use this thing over the last week since I went in to figure it out, and take my blood pressure every hour to see what it is. It's gone down, so that's good news. But lo and behold, it's caused by stress. I don't know where that stress would be caused from. Do you? Yeah, it's just it's been very frustrating 6 months, or at least the last 3 months on a certain platform. But you know, she gave me a really neat compliment. She said that my dad would have loved you. He would have probably handpicked you to be his successor. So that's a really neat gift. I actually take it with me when I record. I kind of touch it like the Yankees touch the, before they go out on the field. That's one of my favorites. Now this one I'm really excited about. I got this weekend. Let me just show you that. This is incredible. This is, oh, lost the hat. Oh, let me put the hat back on. This is a Muppet. They've made me into a Muppet. And he's actually got he's got the Zenny glasses, got the hat. We've got matching shirts. Now, crazy thing about this is the person that made this for me came to my play this weekend. By the way, I did Christmas Carol. It was a lot of fun. I had to wear these fake sideburns. I was going to grow some real sideburns, but I didn't want to, have the show with these scraggly sideburns for weeks on end. But it's a guy named Matt Price, who's a dear friend. He actually directed me in a play 20 years ago, me and my wife, in the play Oklahoma. We actually got the leads, Curly and Laurie, and I'd never seen Oklahoma, and it was really fun to do that play. It was outside at this place called the Grist Mill, so it was an outside play. I got to ride a horse and sing "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," and it was really fun. But we did several plays together, including Forever Plaid, and he's a huge fan of 80s music, and he's been watching the show all this time. So he brought this down, and he's learned to make Muppets, and he turned it in so that he points and say the greatest songs, and then he put 3 chords in the truth here. So he made all of it. I mean, look at this, the detail in this thing. He's got the Billy Joel shirt, the fedora. He nailed it. To me, it looks exactly like. I mean, it's pretty cool. He made one for my wife as well. So we have matching Muppets, and they've got this really cool stand to put them on. So I've actually
Are any
put
of you
them up
guys
on
reading
my,
Batman?
oh my gosh, thank you so much. Gosh, you're too kind. I can't read the. It's Hoppin' Rove 812. Thank you so much. Okay, so this, yeah, so I've actually displayed it in my front room, or when you go down the staircase of my house, we've displayed both of the Muppets. And there's been a couple of times where kids have come down the stairs, and it scares the hell out of us. We see these Muppets because it's dark, and all of a sudden there's two Muppets sitting there. But this is the coolest gift. I mean, you just look at this detail, what he's done, the mouth, the nose, the eyes. I think he nailed it. Anyway, really cool gift, and so I appreciate that. His name's Matt Price, and I told him, man, you need to do this for a living. You've just got so much talent. He's made like 40 or 50 of these things for people. And I mean, Muppets is one of my favorites. In fact, I was a huge fan of the Muppet Show, grew up on, I'm sure you did as well. They had some great musical guests, right? Some of my favorite musical guests, you'll have to tell me in the comments who your favorite musical guests are. Alice Cooper was awesome. I loved it when they did Welcome to My Nightmare and School's Out. Kenny Rogers, I loved it when they did The Gambler on the train there. I also love Debbie Harry was on that, right? Debbie Harry, Paul Simon was on it. Just really cool stuff. Well, the Muppet Show, it ran, 1975, 76 to about 1981. And it ran in 100 countries. It was the most popular show on television at one point. Elton John, Crocodile Rock. That was a really cool one. All right. So, yeah. And actually, there's a 50th anniversary episode of The Muppets coming up. I think Sabrina Carpenter's in it. I wish that they would have somebody like Foo Fighters or somebody like that in it. But anyway, all right. So my big announcement that I wanted to tell you about, I have two big announcements. I have a special guest next week. I've teased this last week. I want you to try to guess who it is. It's by far the most requested guest that I've ever on the show for all 5 years. The most requested. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be really pumped. I had a great conversation with this person. It was almost 2 hours. I'm not gonna release all 2 hours, but it's gonna be really cool. We're gonna drop it a few days before Christmas, so look for that next week. See if you can guess who it is. We geek out on music for a few hours, and it was a blast. I had an absolute blast. And then the other big announcement that I have is that next year, we are going to start up Professor of Rock Live again. Now, I've already done 10 of these things. Actually, I've done like 16 or 17 of them, but 10 that were under the same umbrella. I did, Ariel Speedwagon. I did Sammy Hagar. I did Billy Idol, Huey Lewis. There was a bunch of them there that I did. The Guess Who. And those episodes were all filmed, and they're going to be released at some point. We're working on a deal for that right now. But this new season that we're doing is in a completely different place, not in Utah. It's at a really cool, I can't announce until the press release goes out on this. But the first 3 or 4 guests that we're going for, you're going to be very excited about. They're big artists, legendary careers. And Professor Rock Live is where I'm on stage with them. And we basically kind of tell their life story in like 10 songs. And they tell the stories of those songs and their life. And then they actually play those songs either with their band or acoustically. So it's like MTV Unplugged meets Inside the Actors Studio. And there's some great moments that have come out of it. So I'm really excited about that. Last of all, I wanted to share a memory that I have about my dad. With Christmas, it's really tough around the holidays because my dad loved Christmas. We used to watch the Wonder Years Christmas episodes as we would wrap gifts. And we did that every single year as a tradition that we had. And it was so much fun because my dad was almost the same age as Kevin Arnold was. He went to school at the same time. He had the same memories. It was really neat. So anyway, we used to do that. Now I do that with my own sons. We wrap gifts, put out the Santa gifts, and and we have a great time doing that. Watching Wonder Years, my favorite show of all time. And anyway, he used to, I would go out, he had a shop right next to our house. He was a painting contractor, and he would be varnishing cabinets and working out in his shop. And I would come home, and every Christmas he did this. I'd come into the shop, he'd be listening to Christmas music on this oldie station that we had in Blackfoot, Idaho, actually Moreland. And he would, Feliz Navidad would always come on. I swear, they play that thing like every hour. They would play it, and he would grab my hand and start dancing with me and do the whole Feliz Navidad and sing I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And he just loved it. He loved that song with so much joy. And he would dance with me, and no matter who was around, oh, come on, we got to dance to this. And it was just a great memory. And that song came on the other day. I was in the grocery store with my kids, and I just started crying. It just really meant so much to me. And I started dancing with my own son at 17. He's like, Dad, you're embarrassing me. This is ridiculous. But, Feliz Navidad, it got me wondering where it came from, because I've never really done the history on that song. But it's very interesting. Jose Feliciano, I guess everybody that did a Christmas song is a one-hit wonder in a way, because they had one hit on the Christmas charts. But Feliz Navidad became his biggest hit. I mean, before that was his cover of Light My Fire, but he wrote it because he was really lonely at Christmas time. He's away. He wanted to write something joyful, kind of wrote it as a joke. And when he wrote it, it's 19 words. There are 19 words in the song. He said, it was a joke. I wrote it just for fun. And it didn't chart when it first came out, but it's actually since become the 8th most downloaded song in Christmas history. And it finally, like I think it was 2019 or 2020, it finally charted. It went to number 6 on the charts and became Jose's biggest hit. Have you ever seen Jose Feliciano's cover of Every Breath You Take in front of Sting at that thing where they're honoring Sting, and Sting's like, ooh, that's pretty funny. I'll have to link. Anyway, it's just such a joyful song, and it brings back so many memories. Well, I'm going to wrap up. I didn't take too much of your time today. I want to end on one thing. I want to be really positive because it's Christmas and everything. But one thing that is very scary about what we're going through right now with the AI takeover, I read an article that said 90% of Spotify songs by next year will be AI. Now, I don't know how accurate that is. I just read it in passing. But we've all seen the Terminator movies, and I'll tell you, that's a little freaky to me. I just, there's more and more content going up everywhere, like here on this platform even as well. And I feel like, with all this happening, I feel like I'm getting pushed out. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep going. I love what I do, and I want to keep this going. But it's been a really challenging few months. I'm going to ask you to help me out here by, I'm going to keep releasing videos as long as people are watching. Please like and share. And if you're not getting notifications, which I've getting a lot of people telling me they're not getting notifications, go in and unsubscribe and resubscribe. And make sure your notifications are on. And I hope to do this as long as I can, because I just love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to end with my little Muppet here. It's so crazy. That's a perfect gift for me because I'm such a fan of the Muppets. And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't talk to you till then. Next week, we've got the special show coming out. That's my Christmas gift to you. I know you're going to love it. I guarantee you're going to love it because we have so many requests for this thing. I'm really excited to share it. So I'm going to sign off now. Till next time, 3 Chords and the Truth. Stay safe. And, man, have a wonderful holiday with your friends and family. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, ding dong, that is their song with joyful, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Ding dong, ding dong. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, o'er hill and dale, telling their tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young. Ding dong, ding 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 ding ding dong, ding. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, ding dong, that is their song with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Ding dong, ding dong. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, o'er hill and dale, telling their tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here! Merry, 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 merry Christmas! Ding dong, ding dong! Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. With joyful ring, that is the song. Oh, every year, filling the air. Belly may ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. And all the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek
dong, ding dong, ding. Ding dong, 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 ding dong. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, ding dong, that is their song.
With joyful ring, all caroling.
One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong, ding
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold.
Ding dong, that is their song with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from filling the air.
Daily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Christmas. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding ding ding. Ding dong, ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong, ding. Ding dong, ding dong.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold.
Ding dong, ding dong, that is their song.
Ring and the ring, and the bowling, and the dancing. One seems to hear like a good cheer with joyful ring, all caroling on. Ding dong, ding dong, dong.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away.
Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold.
Ding dong, that is their song with joyful ring, all caroling.
One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air.
song with joyful ring. All caroling one seems to hear. Ding dong, ding dong, hark how the bells. Ding dong, 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 ding dong. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Ding dong, 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 ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, ding dong, ding dong, ding, ding dong, ding dong, ding, ding dong, ding dong, ding, ding, ding. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is their song with joy. Ding dong, ding dang, ding dong, ding dang, ding dong, Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Look at the massiveness of the ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. How they pound, ring the sound, hill and dale, telling their tale. Gaily they ring, while people say, love's good cheer.
Definitely Chase can keep throwing them around. I don't think Prototype catch many opponents can throw them around like that.
Sweet silver bells, all seem to say,
If I didn't see it myself, I wouldn't have believed it either.
And his opponent, from Area 51,
Whoa, there he is.
weighing 260 pounds, Prototype.
Look at the massiveness of the monster.
The character I'm going to be talking about has appeared in. This is a good number to have in my brain as I talk. It'll give me an estimate of how well that character is known to the general public. But that estimate can sometimes be pretty rough. Number of appearances alone does not nearly tell the complete story of a character, and sometimes it can raise more questions than answers. Hellcat is a character where that definitely applies. Let's take a look at some other examples to showcase what I mean. Luna Snow, a decently popular Marvel character, especially recently, but not one with a lot of comic appearances, only 37 issues in total. This makes perfect sense, though. Luna's popularity is almost entirely due to video games, especially Marvel Rivals, and that hasn't really translated to other media yet. Let's take a look at another one, Star-Lord. That's a name that we all definitely know. He's a more recent character than you might think, first debuting in 2004, but in the relatively short time since then, he's racked up a respectable 338 appearances. let's take it up a notch again with my favorite superhero, Moon Knight. Now, Moon Knight is not as popular as Star-Lord, at least not with general audiences, but he's been around for decades longer, and therefore he has appeared 558 times. And then there's Hellcat, who, despite her relative obscurity in the modern day, has a staggering 736 appearances to her name. That is more than Galactus, it's more than Ghost Rider, it's almost twice as many appearances as Loki. So who the hell is Hellcat, and why has she been in so many comics? The answer to that is quite a wild story, because Hellcat doesn't just have a lot of appearances, she also boasts maybe the biggest change in status quo among any Marvel character at the entire company. In today's video, we are going to be starting off old school, and I don't even mean old school Marvel, because this actually predates Marvel. So without further ado, let's talk about Hellcat and how this character has changed drastically with the times around her. As promised, we are going to zoom back in time literally immediately to the year 1944. Marvel was not around at this point, but the company that would eventually evolve and rebrand into Marvel was. At this point in history, it was known as Timely Comics. One of Timely's first productions was called Miss America Magazine, and magazine is the key word there. This was not a comic book, at least not exclusively. Miss America Magazine had news and articles. In fact, it was mostly those. But it did have a couple comic segments, and one of them introduces us to a character named Patsy Walker. Patsy has nothing to do with superheroes, at least not yet. She is a normal teenage girl doing normal teenage things, but amped up to sitcom levels of comedy and drama. You know, like Archie comics? Yeah, it's basically that. That style of comic was really popular at the time, and this was one of many similar books releasing. Patsy's first ever comic shows her fawning over a famous singer, very subtly named Swoon Strong, and hoping to ask him to be her date to her high school prom.
Swoon Strong.
Patsy does not get to ask out Mr. Strong, however, as her crush is stolen by her rich girl rival, Hetty Wolf. Distraught by this, Patsy ends up settling, basically, and instead goes to the dance with her school friend, Buzz Baxter. Then, in a moment of vindication, at the dance, Swoon Strong's toupee falls off, revealing that he is actually bald. Hetty is mortified, and justice is served. Hilarious. In the 1940s, I guess. Uncomplicated as this comic is, it does give us the three characters who are most important to this era of Hellcat lore. First off, obviously Patsy herself, secondly Buzz as her main love interest, and third, Hetty as her friend and frequent rival. Now, apparently, after this debut, Patsy caught on with readers pretty quickly. Have I read every Patsy Walker comic from the 40s to 60s era? No, because there are a lot of them. Miss America Magazine ran for 92 issues, with Patsy appearing in almost all of them. This made her popular enough to get her own series, which ran for a very respectable 124 issues. The Patsy Walker self-titled comic was also popular enough to get a separate spin-off book called Patsy and Hetty, and enough there was another spin-off called Patsy and Her Pals, which is Patsy Walker's fascinative names 4 type have already figured out. Here's one of the mysteries from the intro pretty early. It also raises another question. Are these almost 400 Archie comic style sitcom books canon to the Marvel universe? The answer is yes, they are, but it's a little bit more complicated than just that. If it really was as easy as yes, they are canon, this would not make a very good YouTube video. Let's tell this story chronologically though. For the first 21 years of her existence, Patsy Walker had nothing to do with Marvel. She was published by Marvel eventually. Patsy's comics continued through Timely's rebrand into Atlas Comics, and then Atlas Comics' rebrand into Marvel Comics. But Patsy wasn't really part of the universe, she was just doing her own thing. That would change in 1965's Fantastic Four Annual Special, a very big comic, in fact arguably one of the most important in Marvel history, as this is the issue with the wedding of Susan Storm and Reed Richards. The Richards wedding was a huge event in a couple of different define the dynamics of the Fantastic Four. In universe, their wedding was attended by a lot of popular Marvel characters. As you can see from this cover alone, basically every character that was important at the time, heroes and villains, welcome and unwelcome, made an appearance. And as such, the area outside the Baxter building was filled with both press and fans hoping to get a glimpse of all the heroes as they went inside. In this crowd of onlookers, we get exactly one panel of Patsy Walker and Hetty Wolf, not invited to the wedding, but just there as excited civilians. Each of them get one line of dialogue, and for Patsy's part, she is marveling at how hot Tony Stark is. Which, great news, Patsy, that is going to happen for you, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, these two are not remotely plot relevant in this issue. Their presence is just an Easter egg, but a pretty clever one. Patsy had been a popular character at the company for over 20 years, and so in this big event issue, here she is just for fun. But it did introduce the idea that Patsy Walker might be Marvel canon, and eventually that would get followed up on. Unfortunately for Patsy though, her popularity was starting to drop off during this time. That Fantastic Four comic was again in 1965, and Patsy Walker's last solo comic, or technically issue 110 of Patsy and Hetty, would come in 1967. After member, a government liaison of sorts in the form of Air Force Captain Buzz Baxter. He's grown up now, of course, no longer the teenager from the 40s, and when we first see him at this age, he is touring the facilities of his new job alongside his now wife, Patsy Walker. Patsy, technically Patsy Baxter at this point, is not a major character in this issue or the next one. The more important of the two is McCoy. Remember that Dr. Hank McCoy is a mutant. It is that the Beast is a separate supervillain who has kidnapped Dr. McCoy. And wanting both to find one of his researchers and also take down the villain, Captain Baxter begins a manhunt. Hank, who is in the process of trying to revert from his monstrous form, manages to throw his pursuers off the trail by using a quick and kind of shoddy human disguise. But Captain Baxter is still suspicious, and also, importantly, is being a jerk the entire time. For reasons that we will find out later, he is no longer the bumbling sitcom love interest that he was 2 decades ago. Now, he's awful and is extremely sexist. Not even just like this is a comic from the 1970s sexist. No, he is actively awful to Patsy. This would come back to bite him though, as shortly after his first hunt for Hank, Beast would get extremely injured in a fight with an unrelated supervillain, and in a state of near death and delirium, he would wander into the first shelter he could find, which by pure coincidence was the home of the Baxters. Fortunately, Buzz is not home at the time. The only one there is Patsy, and while she considers calling her husband about the monster that just passed out on her floor, his injuries so that he doesn't bleed out to book it, but is stopped in his tracks as Patsy now apparently knows his secret identity. It turns out that he was told Patsy. Then, in a very mysterious turn, Patsy tells Hank to sit down, as she has something to say to him. The Beast out doing his thing, Baxter again later in the wild boozed and more than a little, and therefore Hank McCoy is in the clear. What actually happened there would not be revealed for go ahead is not as wild of a shift as for the team. Yes, even the introduced kind of barges into the event. Is to Earth's mightiest heroes that the Beast's real identity is Dr. Hank McCoy. And the heroes respond, yeah, we know that already. This is where we get the first bit of detail on what the conversation Patsy keeps at is yet, but in the years since, he has decided not to have her. Beast that he did would like to bring Patsy Walker on our Avengers mission tonight, just to observe. It does not have his joy. And guess who's there running their security still years later? SWAT to be good, as the Brand Corporation facility is defended by a very weird team of quote-unquote superheroes called the Squadron Supreme. We'll go over why I said quote-unquote heroes in a second, but for now, the Squadron Supreme does win and is able to take out the Avengers, capturing them, and of course, Patsy in the process. They all get put in a magical energy cage, and then kind of just the event Kang. and that kind of took priority a little way. So what Cap does is hold the shield up directly inside of the energy wall, effectively turning a little circle of it solid, and then Vision phases through the shield, allowing him to get out and then turn off the cage from the outside. Very cool, and not really relevant to Patsy specifically, but interesting enough that I wanted to call attention to it. Now the Avengers are out of the cage, but they are still in the middle of the Avengers get missile. They do also have a normal human. That note, I just want to make it extra per tend to backing a bunch of missiles fired at this. They are in this identity. She only wore this suit for a couple of issues before getting a hero costume of an old army out that she is the one normal one here, because that is about to shift. As the Avengers try to find their way out of this very complicated lab, they stumble into a sort of armory area and find laying there the superhero costume of an old vigilante named the Cat. The Cat was a pre-existing Marvel character, but not an extremely popular one, at least not in this identity. She only wore this suit for a couple of issues before getting a superpower upgrade, from which point on she was known as Tigra. Yes, this is Greer Nelson, who does still appear in comics even in the modern day. The Cat costume was technologically advanced and did give its wearer minor superpowers, but after Tigra was upgraded and got her powers integrated directly into her body, she no longer needed the suit, and apparently it had somehow come into the possession of the Brand Corporation. And, well, you've heard me talk about Hellcat enough in this video that it should not take a genius to see where this is going. It is here, as the Avengers and Patsy Walker are in this armory looking at the costume, that we get a big flashback scene, revealing more details of Patsy's own origin, and finally, the exact details of the talk she had with Beast. This flashback establishes that Patsy Walker was always a fan of superheroes. This was, of course, not present in her original series because the big superhero boom of the 60s hadn't happened yet, but it does make enough sense in the context of the Marvel Universe. Superheroes are not fictional here, they are real-world celebrities, and Patsy followed all of their adventures. The flashback even briefly references her appearance in the Fantastic Four wedding special, which is a very nice touch, and then cuts to her own wedding to Buzz. This is where it takes a little bit of a turn, as apparently shortly after the two were married, Buzz Baxter went off to the Vietnam War and came back with severe PTSD. A way that we went back but different, and he was apparently very and he missed years the conversation he makes you, which is completely understandable. This sounds it as character confident that it borders on delusional. In any given situation, she is usually more self-assured than she should be, and this is not a consequence. She is so confident, she's kind of insane. Patsy Walker is so confident that it borders on delusional. In any given situation, she is usually more self-assured than she should be. And this is not a consequence of poor writing or favoritism or anything like that. It is absolutely the intent. The point of Patsy Walker as a character is that she is usually a regular person who is really, really sure that she can be a good superhero. And sometimes she can, sometimes she can't. She will Patsy's to go, lady, so kind of crazy, you turned yourself into a monster man. You know all the superheroes, call Reed Richards, get me a costume with a power or a super soldier serum or something. And of the is then gone, and Patsy spends the next Keeper's head. One mysterious sequence so far has been Captain America picking up the cat mask and asking Patsy if she wants to put it on pace as she accepts. Marvel, if you watch my videos, I desperately need you to put Hellcat in the MCU or something animated, whatever, just so I can see the comedic timing of this in a video format, because it would be so incredibly funny. This flashback is like tearful levels of emotional. It's talking about her husband's PTSD and all the trauma that she was facing. Superpowers, that's crazy, actually. Regardless of that, she does end up getting the costume during this scene. She takes it out of Cap's hands, and the Avengers let her put it on because, yeah, I mean, Beast already got them into this incredibly dumb situation, and since the suit does give its wearer powers, this random civilian will technically be safer with it on than without it. Thus, through a combination of Hank McCoy being an idiot and a series of wild coincidences, great Marvel has ever put on the page, and that vibe is just gonna continue. What are her powers, though? Well, for now, they're pretty straightforward. The easiest way that I can describe it is that the Hellcat suit kind of just works on Power Rangers logic, where when you're wearing it, it amps up your physical capabilities and also just makes it so that you immediately know how to fight, which is going to be very relevant very soon because the Avengers are about to leave the Brand Corporation base, but not by their own accord. Remember how I said that there was a group of quote-unquote heroes, the Squadron Supreme, that the Avengers were fighting? Yeah, the Squadron Supreme is from another universe. This arc-based squadron, back to the squadrons, their members are direct parallels to DC characters, and so even though they are back on their homeworld with the power attack Hyperion, who is the squadron's Superman analog. Thankfully, and probably expectedly, one of the main abilities provided by the cat suit is incredibly fast if defeated. Thankfully, as the other Avengers are fighting, Vision is off being tapped. At the time the Avengers figure out how to return to their home reality, she is starting powers. After her training was complete, Patsy would return to Earth and join the Defenders. This is where the majority of Hellcat's appearances are, and note I make the distinction between Hellcat and Patsy Walker. Most of her time as a superhero would be with this team, though from here on out she was part of the larger Marvel universe. Her time on the Avengers was really just her origin arc, and to be doing up to no of the original stories that be a comic book creator and not in the result. People knew her, they knew Patsy because they read these fictional stories about her, and that makes her arrogance
is amazing. Dude, he's like one of the greatest villains that I think I've ever seen in a Batman comic. Okay, so what this does is this initially picks up with a guy named Cy being released from prison. And the guy kind of seems to be on good terms with the cops, right? You know, we'll miss you around here. Do you got anybody coming to pick you up? And while it just kind of seems like one of those things of like, you know, we'll see you back here again because you're a criminal and criminals do bad things, that when he leaves, he gets a little hand-drawn picture, right? He gets his car keys, and then he actually just speaks in a whisper tone, right? He says, "You boys take care of yourselves." And they're just kind of like, "You too, Cyrus." And then he just kind of walks away. And in fact, one of the cops says, "Suze and I will be praying for you." So this guy is seemingly close with those cops out there, but then he ends up going to a graveyard, right, at a small little church, and digs up a grave. And when he does, he just kind of opens this box and finds some artifacts inside, right? A newspaper clipping that says, "Fear mob boss dies in captivity." There's, of course, a kind of necklace. And then he just touches one of the graves and he says, "Love you forever, boy. Let's take one more trip together," and then walks away. At that point, you switch over to the Gotham Pier, right? And it's just stuff going on in Gotham City the way that you would expect it to. There's kind of like this display of firepower that's happening.
Shit.
And in fact, it's actually Tiger Shark, who's just kind of like, you know, "How do you guys like the new toys, gentlemen?" Right? Still think Penguin runs Gotham. And so it's effectively a turf war. Now, it is important to specify here, this story is taking place in the middle of the larger Batman and Robin mythos at the moment. So there's storylines like Memento and things like that that kind of came before this, but for the most part, it's not overly important. But Gotham's always in the midst of a turf war, so, you know, take it for what it is. But Batman ends up showing up here. And that's one of the crazy things, is because Tiger Sharks just like kill him. And they literally open fire on Batman. Now, of course, Damian's here as well, but he's not quite active yet. Instead, Batman just says, "Batwing, target painted, rear rotor, electrical cannon, execute." And then, of course, fires off at the rear rotor of the helicopter. And so at that point, they're just kind of spinning blind. And so Damian's just like, "Now?" And Batman's like, "Nope, not yet." And once he gets inside the helicopter and just starts attacking everybody, he realizes that Tiger Shark is here. And so Damian's like, "Now?" And Bruce is like, "He's here, now." And Damian just like comes flying out on a bat motorcycle, and it looks amazing because he literally comes racing across the road and flies up into the helicopter. It's dope, right? Flying out of a warehouse window into a helicopter. It's the most Damian Wayne thing that you could possibly imagine. And he just tells Batman, right, "On your six." And Batman's like, "I saw him," right? And they're just kind of going back and forth, not really bickering, but like taking out all these guys. The funny thing about this is that the whole Batman and Robin shtick, as you could probably we imagine, is just Batman and Robin working as a team in Gotham. But there's also like the father-son element to it, which is going to play somewhat of a role as we get further into this. But basically, like, Damian Wayne and Batman subdue Tiger Shark and basically just like take him away, haul him off to jail, and that's essentially that. After this, they do switch over to a bit of a father-son moment, which is when things get so dope with the Quiet Man. So they end up deciding to like go see a movie, because one of the things that, again, the comic hits on isn't just the Batman and Robin element, it's how does Bruce Wayne as a father raise his son Damian and treat him like a son. Because historically speaking, most of you guys are aware of this, right? Historically speaking, when it comes to the Batman mythos, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, you oftentimes see him more as the Batman and Robin mentor figure than you do as like Bruce Wayne and a son or an adopted son. The fact that this is kind of being done with Damian is pretty phenomenal here. And so they essentially just kind of let their hair down, so to speak, and they end up just going to enjoy a movie together. When that happens, you switch over to the Penguin at the Iceberg Lounge, and the Penguin just says, to the victor, the spoils. Pour one out for Tiger Shark, who should have known better, right? Enjoy Blackgate Prison, Shark. And then he says, and to our boy Polly, who showed us what he's made of through this war. Tiger Shark's turf is ours now, and I need a man that I can trust to run it for me. Give our newest underboss his props. And everybody here, right, is like, to Polly Pool, you know, and everybody's kind of celebrating him. And Penguin says, and finally, to the man who finally put old Shark away, always ready to answer an anonymous tip, the unsung hero of this crew, to the Batman, and they all celebrate. And so while Bruce and Damian spend their time in a theater, outside the Iceberg Lounge, the Quiet Man walks up, and this guard who's standing outside just says, private party tonight, keep walking. And the Quiet Man is just like, I've been out of town for a while. Mr. Cobblepot still hold court here? And the guy's like, you just said the dumbest thing you possibly could have said. Get out of here while I still let you leave. And the Quiet Man just says, you don't want to point a gun at me, son. Tell Mr. Cobblepot there's a man here to see him. And this guy, like, goes to pull a gun, and Quiet Man takes him out like that. And Penguin's just like, what in the hell is going on? I mean, they hear the gunfire and all that. This guy gets thrown through a window. And so the Quiet Man just points a gun at this guy and just blows his head smooth off. And then everyone opens fire on this guy, right? And so at that point, it's just like, what in the heck? Like, Penguin's just like, everybody get into the tunnels, out the back. Polly, get your boys down there now. Take care of this guy. So Penguin basically escapes. At that point, the Quiet Man just like grabs a rifle, he's got a handgun, and then he starts to say this prayer. And it's one of the dopest lines that I think I've ever heard. He says, rest easy, boys, I ain't angry with you. And he says, still my breath with steel, that I might rest after my life of toil. Cool my blood in earth, that my anger might be quelled. Bless mine eyes with silver, that I might watch for the Savior's coming. If I die today, let it be in penance for my sins, redeemed by the guns of holy men. It's amazing, dude. That's one of the coolest lines that I've ever heard in the world of comics. As soon as I saw that, I was like, dude, this guy is dope. Because the whole time he's saying this prayer, he is unloading on these guys, right? I mean, it's Old Testament, right? Fire and brimstone. I mean, the Lord's judgment came to the Iceberg Lounge tonight, son. It was an absolute massacre. So the guy torches the entire place. And so at that point, you switch over to the Penguin in the aftermath of it all, right? And the Penguin initially like lashes out at Batman and Robin, right? You know, you did this, right? If this had been a police precinct or the mayor's office or some poor man's home, you'd have been here. Where were you, right? I'm a citizen of Gotham. I pay taxes too. And of course, Batman stands up and looks at the Penguin with that Batman look, you know what I mean? The look that he gives where he's like, I'm in no mood to listen to this, right? Like, I'm not having it, son, right? Like, it's that's the tone, that's the look that Batman gives. And he just asks, who did this, Penguin? And Penguin's just like, you're asking me, right? You think I'm on a first name basis with every malcontent who wants to kill me? It could be anybody. And Bruce is just kind of like, anybody. And he's like, okay. A man walks up to the front door of your headquarters unarmed, asking for you. When your man turns him away, the killer takes his gun, forces his way in, and shoots everyone he finds. And as the Iceberg Lounge is burning down around him, he takes the time to place silver coins on the eyes of the dead. I don't know what kind of man does that, but I do know who it's not. It is not anybody. You guys see what I'm saying? This story is amazing. Like, it's absolutely incredible, right? And so Robin's just like, did you see anything? And Penguin just kind of dismisses it, right? No, I didn't really see anything. But then one of his guys chimes in, right? And is like, I was on the door last night. I heard him talking to the guy outside right before the shooting started. I was behind the bar. I didn't get a good look. And Robin's just like, then what can you remember? And this guy says, a tall guy, lean, wore a baseball cap, dressed like he was from the country maybe, like he'd just come from working outside. He was good though, exceedingly good, right? It was weird how good this guy was. Talking with one of those voices that you have to lean in to hear. He talked really polite, even when he was trying to kill us. And so Batman's just like, I know you know who it was that did this, but I do not need your help, and don't get in my way. And so, of course, Penguin kind of does, right? Because one of his guys, right, Paulie asks him, he's like, I mean, is Batman right? Like, do you know this guy? And Penguin just says, reach out to dense people, Paulie, set a meeting for tonight. If this is who I think it is, it concerns both of us. Now, Damian Wayne does kind of bicker with Batman a little bit. A kind of like some guy rolled in as a one-man army, right? Just one guy doing this and taking out the Iceberg Lounge, not a huge deal, right? But this could have been a mugging. It could have been a murder of an innocent person. It could have been the Joker and a bunch of people. And so from Damian's perspective, they don't have the luxury of being able to take off days or evenings or something like that. There's always danger in the city of Gotham, and something always needs to be responded to. But one of the things that Batman tells him is no, right? I told you that I would be both a mentor and a father to you. And being a father to you means doing fatherly things. And so at that point, you switch back over to the Quiet Man, right? He's just kind of talking to himself, and he says, Gotham ain't changed. Trash piled up on the street. Folks wrapping it up to keep warm. I haven't heard a bird or a cricket or the wind in a tree since I got here. I laid silver on 5 men last night, and I didn't learn a damn thing. I'll try again tonight. And he says, I sure miss you, boy. I miss every age that you grew out of. I miss the ages that you never were. Maybe I'll be with you tonight. And so at that point, you switch back over to Batman. Maybe I'll be...
He's out. Penguin and Two-Face know where. Don't let him get away with it.
With you tonight. And so at that point, you switch back over to Batman and Damian investigating these coins they got that were left behind by the Quiet Man. And while Damian's kind of doing his training, right, fighting mannequins and so on and so forth, he asks Batman, right, like, what do you see? Did you find anything on the coins? And Batman's like, actually, I found a lot, right? There are old mold and wood particles on the coin, like it was kept in a box for an exceedingly long time, probably buried. And he says there's also a faint residue consistent with human decomposition. And he says the coin itself is also curious. It's an 1898 US silver dollar, sometimes called a justice dollar. Justice dollars are old, but not especially rare, unless they were made in the New Orleans Mint, as this one was. And Damian's just kind of like, why does it matter? And Bruce says a shipment of these coins was stolen in an 1898 train robbery in the Blue Ridge Mountains and never recovered. This coin alone is worth almost $25,000. And Damian's just like, Jesus. There's 5 bodies at the Iceberg Lounge. Who shoots 5 strangers and then leaves $250,000 worth of treasure in their eyes? And Bruce is like, that's the question. And he says, I left a microphone at the Iceberg Lounge this morning. Penguin thinks this has something to do with Two-Face. He could be to blame, or he could be the next target. Penguin and Two-Face are having a meet tonight at one of Two-Face's hideouts. Stake out the Asher estate, and I'll take the old courthouse. And Damian asks, right, I mean, do you think this guy is going to go after them again so soon? And Batman says, probably unlikely, but as you said, we let our guard down last night. That's not something that we can afford to do again. And so at that moment, you switch over to the Ash here. They're essentially kids in the city of Gotham that give Batman information He's out of the game now, right? I'm confused why you're even talking like you're holding all the cards with the guns of a dozen violent men pointed at you. What exactly makes you think you're walking out of here? And Quiet Man just says, just the one thing. There ain't no dozen men who ever had what it took to kill me. And just like shoots down this clock that's hanging from this crane. It just like crashes on the car, right? And then just starts opening fire on everybody. And while he does that, he says that prayer yet again. If I die today, let it be in penance for my sins, redeemed by the guns of holy men. And there's a point where he's got Penguin dead to rights, and Batman swoops in and saves the Penguin. Not necessarily intentionally, but he saves the Penguin and goes after the Quiet Man. Now that's the crazy thing, is because in that moment, Robin's just like, don't pick up that gun. And Quiet Man just says, right, I'm not in the habit of shooting at children, son. And Damian gets kind of cocky. He's like, good, right? Then that'll make all this even easier. But in that moment, Quiet Man just looks around and says, Batman, you ought to be ashamed. Because as soon as Damian lunges at Quiet Man, he just cocks him out with one hit. Keeping in mind, Damian Wayne is a prodigiously trained assassin, right? He's one of the greatest assassins in the world. He gets taken out in one hit by this guy. And Quiet Man just says, bringing a boy into a man's quarrel. And Batman just says, right, I didn't ask for the judgment of a murderer. You killed 5 men. You don't get to walk away from that. And Quiet Man just says, walk away. He says, I'm here because you set loose the lunatic who killed my boy. You did that. I'll walk away when he's dead. And so Batman muses to himself, right? He says, the silver dollars, Penguin, Two-Face, the lunatic who killed my boy. He says, with that, I remember where I've seen this man before. From a cold case from years ago and a murder that we couldn't make stick. And he says, he's after the ventriloquist. Because at that point, you switch over to Arnold Wesker, and he's there with a woman who just says, that looks really nice, Arnie, right? What's it going to be? And Arnold just says, I don't know, right? I just asked the wood what it wants to be, and it tells me. And so jumping back to the fight between Batman, Quiet Man, Robin, Penguin, and Two-Face, that like Quiet Man tells Batman, right, I'm not here for you. I'm not even here for them. Give up ventriloquist, and you won't ever see me again. But Batman's not the one to bend to those kind of demands. So the fight between the two is pretty intense. For every move that Batman's able to make, Quiet Man is able to make an effective counter move. Not enough to like overcome Batman entirely, but he's holding his own. And that's no small thing. You guys know that, right? Batman's one of the greatest fighters in the entirety of the DC universe. This guy being able to hold his own, that's kind of nuts. Because what Batman says is the ventriloquist is an Arkham. And the Quiet Man's like, don't you lie to me. I'm entitled to a father's justice. Are you trying to stop that, right? Make me kill you in front of your own boy? Is that really what you're shooting for? What kind of a man are you? And where Robin is able to momentarily distract Quiet Man, the Gotham Irregulars are kind of watching all that go down. And they're like, man, we got to get Robin to teach us this kind of stuff. But one of the things that also happens is that Two-Face and Penguin's guys start opening fire. Irregulars, Robin is able to momentarily what you're shooting for. What kind of a man are you? And where Robin is able to momentarily distract Quiet Man, the Gotham Irregulars are kind of watching all that go down. And they're like, man, we got to get Robin to teach us this kind of stuff. But one of the things that also happens is that Two-Face and Penguin's guys start opening fire again. And so there's this huge distraction, right? There's this giant, mannequin-looking thing comes crashing down onto saves Robin by pulling him out. Batman's still stuck under all that stuff. While all that's happening, the Penguin's guys are opening fire at everybody. The Quiet Man is essentially taking him out. He grabs Robin. He's like, on your feet, kid. And Two-Face is like, Penguin, let's go. We got to get out of here, right? Penguin's just like opening fire with his umbrella, and they basically bolt. And so at that moment, the Quiet Man ends up walking away. But the last thing he tells Batman is he says, a boy should not be mixed up in foolishness like this. Let your old man dig his own grave, son, and just walks away. And so at that point, Batman jumps on to the horn and gets a hold of the woman who's there alongside Arnold Wesker, right? And when he chimes in, she's just kind of like, oh, you know, it's my mom calling. And she kind of walks away for a second, and she's just like, yeah. And Batman says, Blair, someone knows Wesker's free. They will be coming for him. And she asks the question, how would anybody know? And Batman just says, just be ready to move him. I will be in touch. And so initially, Robin doesn't fully understand what's going on, right? He's like, why would the Quiet Man take the time to free me, right? And Batman just says, at the Asher estate, he said that he was after the lunatic who killed my boy. He said something similar during his trial. We never learned what he meant. And Damian is just like, what trial are you talking about, right? Like, do you know who this man is? And Batman says, I might. He says, something he said reminded me of a cold case from years ago, a mob shootout in a warehouse near the docks. 5 soldiers of the Falcone crime family were found shot to death, alongside one badly wounded Army vet with no apparent reason for even being there. There were rumors that Two-Face and Penguin were involved, but all the dead mobsters were all on the payroll of either Carmine Falcone or Scarface. We never learned what happened in that warehouse. The crime families all played dumb, and the Army vet hardly spoke a word from the stand, but he accused the ventriloquist of quote-unquote killing my boy. And so that's where Damian asks, right? Like, isn't the ventriloquist in Arkham? That's where he's supposed to be. And Batman says that's what the world thinks. The ventriloquist, Arnold Wesker, has received a clean bill of health. He's free. The guy had a mental breakdown and basically lost his identity and every other identity. He's a clean slate. And so because of that, because he didn't recall his own past, because there's no real violent tendencies, he's quite literally an old man out there in the world with no idea who he is. He was released from Arkham Asylum, but Batman kind of orchestrated him being moved to a safe house, and he's currently under the watch of a woman named Simone Blair, who's essentially Batman's eyes and ears, making sure that Arnold Wesker never reverts or relapses back into his old self again. And so the kicker about all this is that after Simone is informed that there are people who may very well be on the way to Arnold Wesker, she starts packing stuff up, right? She's like, if you need your notepad with all your numbers in it, it's in the backpack behind the counter, the little zipper pocket in the front. Your phone is in there too, right? I'm headed out, but I'll be real close. She almost kind of bails on him. But when she gets to the door and the place is supposed to be locked up, there's a couple of guys who walk in, right? Praise be. It's a miracle, right? This man has miraculously escaped from Arkham Asylum, only to find out that it's the Penguin's men. And when the Penguin's men get here, they come walking into this place alongside Two-Face and his guys. So quite literally, they all know where Ventriloquist is at. And when they get in there, they put a gun to this guy's head. The goal is to literally serve him up to the Quiet Man. And that's exactly what they do. At the Upper West Side in Gotham City, where there's basically a kind of safe house, right, where Penguin and Two-Face and those guys normally get up to no good, Quiet Man follows them there. He sees them there, and they just go inside. When it's become pretty obvious that they've spotted him, he follows them in, and when he gets in there, he finds a laptop from the Penguin, where the Penguin tells him, right, you've made yourself a proper hassle. I'd offer you a job if you hadn't killed quite so many of my boys. But he says, you're looking for Ventriloquist, aren't you? And he says, you win, Mr. Mountain Man. And he has the address written down for the Ventriloquist location. And Penguin just says, go get him. And so with Robin and Batman now on the hunt to figure out what's going on with the Quiet Man, who this guy really actually is beyond speculation, as well as figuring out everything else involving this case, Robin ends up going with the Gotham Irregulars who actually show him where the Quiet Man's base of operations is, right? His headquarters. Damian Wayne ends up stumbling across a whole bunch of these letters that had been written to his son and letters that had been sent to him, while Batman tracks down Two-Face. And when Batman tells Two-Face, right, Cyrus Mercer took the fall for the warehouse shooting years ago, you and Penguin were implicated, tell me what happened, that Two-Face says, one of Falcone's guys knew him from the army, said he used to be some kind of a badass. Mercer went to his buddy, said he had a fortune in silver that he'd sell for pennies on the dollar, worth 50 million easy. Falcone said that he would buy, but Penguin and I had spies on Falcone's crew. We were both planning to hit the joint, take the money, and Bale. We decided to basically go in together, right? Because we didn't want to have to kill each other in the process. And he says what we didn't know was that Scarface heard about it too. We heard the shooting from outside. By the time we got in there, Mercer was shot. 5 mob guys were dead, and the silver was gone. When the shooting started, an old Falcone guy named Brazzi took off in Mercer's truck. All the silver was in the back. A car full of Scarface's guys went after him. And he says Scarface's car slammed into a wall on the Tri-Gate Bridge. Everybody dead inside. Mercer's truck never made it to Falcone's or anywhere else. The guy vanished. And Bruce kind of continues and says, and Mercer took the fall for the whole thing. And so when Damian Wayne kind of starts to figure out what's going on here, that Mercer's literally on a vengeance quest to avenge the death of his son, he starts to realize a couple things. One of which is that it's not that dissimilar from what Batman's doing, right? Batman's on a quest for vengeance due to the fact that his parents were killed in Crime Alley. So it kind of allows Damian to sort of see where the Quiet Man's coming from. And so when that goes down, he contacts Batman, right? And he says, look, I found the headquarters of the Quiet Man.
He's free. Two-Face Penguin nowhere. Don't let them get away with it. Two-Face Penguin nowhere.
There's all kinds of letters and stuff here, and there's a series of addresses. I don't know what they mean. Maybe you do, right? And Batman's like, okay, like, what does it say? And he's like, one of the letters says, Merry Christmas, 2538 Folsom Street, Burnside. And Batman's like, get to the address now. And Damian's to Blair, right? Wesker and Blair are just kind of tied down to these chairs. There's nothing really going on here, but of course, they're captured, right? So they know like someone's going to be coming for them, even if Penguin and Two-Face left them there. And most likely, Penguin told them, like, there's a guy who's going to be coming after you, and he's going to kill you. We're just setting you up to get killed, right? Now, of course, Blair ends up wiggling herself free and then freeing Wesker. The problem is that when she looks out of the window, she sees the Quiet Man coming. And so he comes walking down this path in what turns out to be this just kind of little street store, right? On like a little innocuous area, right? Literally out in the suburbs somewhere or in an old part of Gotham. It's a pretty smart move by Batman. You would expect Wesker to be holed up in like some house out in the woods or something along those lines. But no, it's just a little storefront down in the basement. And so when Quiet Man gets in there, he starts poking around and he ends up discovering both Blair and Wesker hiding down in this little closet area. And when he looks down there, he's just kind of like, huh, right? It's a little strange what it is that he sees. And so at that point, of course, Batman and Robin show up there just in time to witness Paulie firing an RPG into the store and blowing the place to pieces. The idea being that Penguin could kind of take everybody out in one fell swoop. He could lure the Quiet Man to where Ventriloquist and Simone were at. He could take out Quiet Man. It's actually a really smart move. Batman and Robin get in there and they just try to grab as many people as they can, right? Then Robin ends up grabbing Quiet Man and getting him out of there. And then Batman starts going to the house looking for Wesker and Blair. But the crazy thing is he gets into the closet where Wesker was hiding and he says, there's a body here. And he says, it's Blair. She didn't die in the blast. She's been dead at least a week. And Robin's just like, I mean, that's impossible. You spoke to her less than an hour ago. If Blair's dead, if she's been dead all this time, who have you been talking to? And that's when you pick up with Ventriloquist and Blair running through this street, right, trying to escape. And Blair's just telling him, right, you know, we got to get out of here. I got a gig surprise for you, right? That's how Scarface talks. And he ends up passing by this guy who's sitting on these stairs, right, talking to a woman on the phone. And he's like, no, you know, it was good though, right? Ricky told me that I did good. Next time I go in, it's just going to be me. And she's like, that's great, babe. Have you told your mom yet? And then the girl's like, are you with somebody? I thought I heard somebody talking. And he's like, no, it's nobody. Just some old guy talking to himself. Wesker is back to being Ventriloquist. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end because we got one issue left until this story finishes.
Crazy.
Angels
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing. Angels we have heard on high. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo. Look, Mundo Sardat.
The light is falling, the world burns, silence in really silence, he said. There is silence in heaven. Sanctus fugit, hora venit, the sage has fled, the hours come, Elias part and Modus Ius.
Part of me wants to do some monster trucking. Monster trucking. Get out there and monster truck around with my monster truck kid. Monster truck around with my monster truck kid. All right, that was fun. It's a blast.
bath anyway. Mettiti qui, furbetto! E sarebbe una lotta? Dagli la buonanotte! Ah, non fai ridere! Uomo morto! Che codardo! Ti vedo! Peccato! Fermalo! Sì, mandalo giù! Ah, scodato! Scodato! Fallo a pezzi! Fin troppo facile! È arrivata la tua ora! Puoi nasconderti, razza! Forza! Eccoti qua! Eccolo là! Ti prenderò! Prendetelo! Non può scappare! Sì, dacci dentro! Ah! Peccato! Non lasciatelo scappare! Ti tengo! Ti tengo! Forza!
Thanks, pal.
Ma tu non sei!
What are you up to? There we go. Where'd you go? Anyone see a nun?
Con il potere che ti viene da Dio, incatena nell'inferno Satana e gli spiriti maligni. O Maria, concepita senza peccato, prega per noi che ricorriamo a te. Sii il nostro aiuto contro la cattiveria e le insidie del demonio. Preghiamo che Dio lo domini.
A te sospiriamo, gementi veggenti in questa valle.
Salve.
The Lord be with you, sister.
Orsù dunque, avvocata nostra,
Con il potere che ti viene da Dio, incatena nell'inferno Satana e gli spiriti maligni. O Maria, concepita senza peccato, prega per noi che ricorriamo a te.
a te ricorro,
Enjoying the view?
Excuse me, Father.
Gallagher, is spying on people part of your daily nun routine, sister?
I was actually just bird watching.
Give me that.
What do you think you're doing? Hey, those are my binoculars.
What the hell are you doing here?
An old friend of yours?
That's Emmerich Voss, German archaeologist, and leader of the Fears Occult Research Program.
And you know that how?
The Lord revealeth his secret unto his servants.
Is that so? Dr. Indiana Jones, Professor Archaeology Department,
Hey.
Marshall College, Bedford, Connecticut.
Shush. Yeah? And you ain't no nun, sweetheart.
You know nothing about me.
Well, I might not be a priest, but I'm pretty certain stealing is a straight no-hitter with the Ten Commandments. Not entirely certain what the rules are for a reporter.
How do you...
You were taking notes in shorthand.
I'm an investigative journalist, and right now I'm looking into the disappearance of someone very dear to me. She was abducted more than 6 months ago. And I believe your friend Emmerich Voss is responsible.
It's Dr. Laura Lombardi.
Do you know her?
She's one of the world's leading experts in ancient languages.
Yes, and most importantly, she's my sister. My name is Ginetta Lombardi. What's your business here?
I'm looking for a cat.
Cat?
A mummy.
A mommy or a cat?
It's a cat mummy.
On the
Why?
prowl for some
Because a giant from the Vatican stole it
Cat.
from me, and I need to figure out why.
mummy.
You're profoundly strange, Dr. Jones. The answer you give me stirs up more questions.
So don't ask.
What about this? We hear anything that could be interest to the other. We trade information. Deal?
Yeah, all right. Miss Lombardi, deal.
Good. You can call me Gina. See you around, Strambo.
Should definitely bring this back to the library.
All right. Do I want to do that? Just because? Okay, twice the amount of fruit.
Might be something I can pick up from this.
Abilities from the books. You also collect map guides. Fruit temporarily causes them to take more damage. Oh. Deal increased damage with 1 and 2-handed melee weapon. Last hit before notifies weapon break. Deals additional damage. Oh. I definitely want this one. Add a boost to stamina recovery speed. Not yet. Okay, yes yet. And then that one is 600.
Come va, padre?
Howdy.
filo a destra.
Pensavo che mi piacerebbe avere una sua fotoricordo per quando torneremo al convento. Chiedigliela. Ne sarà sicuramente felice. No, mi vergogno a chiedergli una cosa del genere.
Howdy.
Padre Antonio ci è stato di grande aiuto. Già, pensavo che mi piacerebbe avere una sua fotoricordo per quando torneremo al convento. Chiedigliela. Ne sarà sicuramente felice. No, mi vergogno a chiedergli una cosa del genere.
Forse dovremmo mandare altri missionari in Sud America.
Non ce ne sono già abbastanza. Ma
Indy, you're back. Did you find anything beneath the tower?
Damn right I did.
Let me see.
A leather parchment from the First Crusade concerning a secret order right here in the Vatican.
This is astounding. Grazie, Indy. So where are you going next?
Found the confession.
Be careful, my friend. You might be going down a rabbit hole. No telling where it might lead. I'm amazed it's so well preserved. I wonder who this hour was. Great reclamation. What does this mean?
ecco il libro. Ma è troppo in alto. Non ci arrivo. Oh, siete un gentiluomo. Grazie infinite.
Ancora un po' a destra. Perfetto! No, più a sinistra.
Padre Antonio ci è stato di grande aiuto. Già, pensavo che mi piacerebbe avere una sua fotoricordo per quando
Should type any loose ends in the Vatican before I head to the found
ne sarà
confession.
sicuramente felice.
Porto a bere una birra. Grazie, signore.
Una buona giornata. Indietro, area riservata.
Stay clear of that, Captain.
Meglio verificare la sua identità.
Signore, potrei scrivere una lettera per mio
Ho sentito che il duce verrà qui a breve. Spero che mi noti. Vorrei sentir parlare una scolaria. Sono solo un ammiratore della grande opera di grande opera.
Pulire i gabinetti della caserma. Ancora?
Vorrei capire chi è quel prete.
No fooling this guy.
Indietro, non è consentito stare qui.
Vorrei fargli 2 domande.
È assurdo. Non può dirsi rubare se ciò che prendi è già tuo di diritto, Pio. Che giornata semplicemente stupenda. Sento che oggi è il mio giorno fortunato.
Non avrai di nuovo buttato via il tuo denaro, vecchio sciocco.
No, ho solo lanciato una moneta nel pozzo dei desideri. Che succede?
Beh, avevo promesso a mia madre che le avrei mandato una foto della Cappella Sistina, ma non trovo macchine fotografiche.
Ah, credo che Ernesto ne abbia una in vendita.
Sì, ma costa troppo.
Prega per noi, Santa Madre di Dio.
Come in cielo, così in terra.
Psst. Come over here. Come here. Hey.
Long time no see.
We just met.
Never mind. You have information you wish to trade.
A potential lead on your cut, Mommy.
I'm listening.
My Vatican contact, Juliana. I asked her to see if the Vatican has information on you and your college. I'm to meet her in the museum, but something must have happened, because the museum now is locked down.
So what are we waiting for? Who is this contact of yours?
I met Juliana when I was a correspondent during the Abyssinian War, before she found her place in the Vatican Sisterhood.
Buongiorno, caro padre.
May the Lord bless you, sister.
Long.
The museum is this way.
Would not want to get on her bad side.
Are you Antonio's delivery boy?
What am I delivering?
The diary of Father Crescenzo.
Is that so?
An awfully mysterious story. Father Crescenzo was an eccentric priest in the 16th century. Some say he discovered an explosive secret in the Vatican. Ah, but listen to me spending your precious time. Don't you have a book to find for me?
Yes, sister. I'll see if Antonio has your book. Again, this Father Crescenzo.
It's this way, Father.
After you.
So you are the American priest that Padre Ventura was talking about. I love America. Please, come to confess me. Come with me, I need a confession. Please have a seat.
You're forgiven.
Father, wait, I didn't confess yet.
All right, let's get this over with.
Father, forgive me because I've sinned. I had an affair with my mother-in-law.
It's all right. Just say 3 Hail Marys.
No, Father, you don't understand. My wife is expecting a child, and I fear that.
What?
Yeah. Let me finish, please. I fear that my mother-in-law is with the child also.
Jesus Christ, what have you done?
Wait. You are not a priest.
Sorry, pal, you kind of deserved it. All right. Where'd that lady go? Museum. We're meeting at the museum.
La salute del Papa peggiora. Temo che egli chiamerà il Santo Padre al suo fianco. Preghiamo di no. Il mondo ha già abbastanza problemi. Chi pensate che lo sostituirà quando non ci sarà più? So che Villeneuve ha parecchi sostenitori. Il canadese? No, non credo. Che mi dite di Piazza o Schuster? Forse. O magari Pacelli. Il segretario di Stato della Santa Sede. No, non sarebbe da tradizione. Non ha nemmeno un'arcidiocesi. Certo, ma sono tempi straordinari. E il Vaticano ha bisogno di qualcuno che abbia capacità politiche. Avete sentito che è andato oltreoceano a incontrare Roosevelt?
Wow.
Sì, ho sentito. Tuttavia, non credo che verrebbe fatto papa. Preghiamo di non doverlo scoprire per un altro po'.
Hai notizie di Ridolfo?
No, l'ultima volta che l'ho visto era diretto al museo, ma adesso è chiuso.
Quell'imbranato ha di sicuro rotto qualcosa. Dovrei andare a cercarlo e capire se ha bisogno di essere tirato fuori da qualche guaio.
Beh, dovrai passare dall'accampamento in piazza. Con calma, però. Qualche cinghiale può fargli bene.
Holy crap. Holy shit. Oops.
Posso andare anche con gli altri?
Pensavo che mi piacerebbe avere una sua fotoricordo per quando torneremo al convento.
Chiedigliela. Ne sarà sicuramente felice.
No, mi vergogno a chiedergli una cosa del genere.
Un po' più a sinistra. No, no, più a destra. Questa è la mia biblioteca. Ho diritto di avere.
Perciò ve lo ripeto. Si sospetta che alcuni vostri libri promuovono pensiero comunista. Presto le autorità competenti li passeranno al vaglio.
Oh, qui si coltiva la conoscenza. I fascisti non hanno alcuna autorità. Il Papa non sosterrebbe mai azioni del genere.
Il Papa non è qui.
You sums of them in a bitch.
You all aces?
I just spoke with Sister Catherine. She mentioned a diary written by Father Crescenzo. You know about it?
I'm afraid you are too late, Indy. I had just found it when Father Ventura and his black shirt came and took half of my collection. The diary included.
It must be important. What's in this diary?
I don't know. Maybe more of Crescenzo's writings on giants and fallen angels. I had forgotten all about it until Sister Catherine brought it up.
Think. Where would they take it?
I believe they keep confiscated material in a room inside the Apostolic Palace. There is an entrance that leads there from the sewers.
Did I ask how you know this?
You may ask, but do not expect an answer. Good luck, Henri. You can enter the sewers through the tower of Nicholas V.
Let me see.
Henri, look! I have placed the pictures you took on this bulletin board. I sense a common pattern across these inscriptions. Another hidden message, perhaps. But there are just too many missing pieces to solve the puzzle.
Well then, I'll look for more inscriptions. This Ventura guy really doesn't like you, does he?
It's an understatement to say I like him even less.
just not right now. Oh, 2020. Okay. Oh shit. This is Jet Moto. Yeah, this is Jet Moto.